Hello, fellow compatriots, and welcome to the Bionicle Forged Podcast. This is episode 10, where we will be covering news, updates, and several things that will be going on that has been going on in the community. So today, I must add that if you have any questions about my channel or anything like that personally, please leave your questions for the end of the video. But for now, unless in fact it is questions about what is currently being discussed and so forth. And hello, Darkness the Pain Soul. Welcome to the live show of what is the new and improved Bionicle Forged Podcast. Now, just like in the old rendition of the Bionicle Forged Podcast, we will be taking a look at exclusive content and how to build your very own makuta. From the Gen 2 version, at least. So, without further ado, as you go ahead and learn some tips about how to make cool-looking mods from the examples provided on the screen, we will be talking about the first thing that has been going on in the Bionicle community this month, which is somebody on YouTube by the name of Shade2800 made a countdown of the 12 years of Bionicle, counting from worst to best. If you guys are curious to see, I might put a link in the description if you have not seen already. Now, he makes a countdown. It's like his own personal list, since it was his birthday by the time he posted the video. However, the thing that interested me a little bit is he put the Bionicle Gen 2 better than the beginning of 2001, which I find kind of like a little strange, because normally people would put like Gen 1, like 2001 of Bionicle, like around close to number 1 or something like that, but since it is like nostalgic and this and that for most people. But what he stated in that video was that he didn't really grow up with Bionicle 2001, so he had more of a but even though he didn't grow up with Bionicle 2001, he grew up during 2002. That's when he started getting into Bionicle, was 2002, with the whole clean it all, it must be cleaned kind of thing, which was like, for him, it was a very creepy, kind of feeling, because it's like that sense of fear, kind of like a cult-like feeling of like, ooh, this is creepy, this is spooky, what's going on here? And overall, it is a very, very, very interesting outlook, and his reasonings for putting Gen 2, so. And hello, special guy. Hello. And the reasoning for Shade 2800 putting Bionicle Gen 2 on this list of counting from worst to best after Gen 1, I think it was more about it was much more nostalgic for him, because it was Bionicle essentially coming back. We're talking about Bionicle Gen 2015, and how that really elevated him more than any of the other years of Bionicle. So, which is kind of understandable, because it was a very serious hype train to have going on, because it's like, wow, Bionicle's been going on for 10 years, and what do you know? It comes back better than ever, surprisingly. And it's a very nostalgic feeling. It's very... So I can understand why he would put it like as like number one, for putting Bionicle 2015 after like Bionicle 2001. But still, in my personal opinion, you know, I do like Bionicle 2001 for it was... I mean, the first Bionicle set from 2001 that I got was Pohatu. Toamata Pohatu, which I still have to this day. I wish I kept the container, but I don't have the container. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you guys have any, like, questions, you know, save it for the end of the video. But for now, I'll just answer your question right now. Andrew Peterson, which he's asked, do you know what Bricklist is? Yes, I do. Bricklink is. Yes, I know what Bricklink is. I don't normally use Bricklink so much. I mostly go to my own Lego store that's in my area to get pieces, which is a buy, sell, and trade shop. But anyways, back to the news. So something else that happened on YouTube this month was the animation that Ragdoll made for the TTV's Gen 3 story. Now this is very interesting. I'll go ahead and put it up right now, because you guys probably want to go ahead and see that. So I'll go ahead and show that off right now. So let me go ahead and big screen that. Oh, hold on. Too big. That was too big. I'm sorry about that. Whoop. I know, most professional, I know. Bite me. But this is the animation that that Ragdoll made for the TTV message boards. I'm not so sure if you guys have seen it yet, but it's pretty good for what it is. I mean, I actually did enjoy watching it, surprisingly. It's a work in progress animatic. You know, nothing is finalized and stuff like that. But the thing that interested me was, even though I have my questions about the Bionicle Gen 3 story that the TTV is going with, kind of gives it a little bit of an Ninjago feel. I'm not too sure if I'm like the only one that thinks this way. But other than that, you know, for what it's going for with the finding the fragments of the Mask of Time, it kind of is nostalgic, because it kind of reminds me of the finding the golden mask, you know, or all different types of kanohi that the Toa Mata had to find back in 2001 and so forth. It's very interesting how they go about it. Plus, there is a section in this animation where it's like Pohatu has like some sort of flashback and of what. Actually, it's more like a vision that he sees that might happen in the future. Kind of like similar to Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, or like I like to call it Avengers 1.5. But it seems to be like what the story that TTV is going with, even though it does carry some aspects from the original Bionicle, it does seem to keep carrying off other tropes from other sorts of media. Like, I'm not too sure who it is, but I think it might be, like Vardaran. He's very into the whole, like, the elemental power abilities, trying to make it similar to Avatar, and the ideas that he has, which, I mean, Avatar, the concept of the battle, the battle formatting for what is Avatar might work. It's just that mostly what the Toa use their elemental powers for is more of a elemental kind of like tool setting. And this is what I'm talking about, the vision that Pohatu has of what might happen in the future. Now I canceled out the sound. If you guys want to hear the sound, just let me know in the chat. But it's good for what it is. I mean, I'm not hating these people just because I don't like it. For what it is, the animation is good. I actually do like what they're going with here. I may not agree with everything, but for what it is, I do enjoy what it is for entertainment purposes. But yeah, the animation is good, and Dracurzilla. Oh, okay, hold on. Oh boy. Okay. Hold on. Alright, so Dracurzilla 17 Go G01 says what's up? Hello? And Kurtasu Studio says hello, and also says the animation is good, which I do have to agree. The animation is pretty good for what it is, but it's just this overall story. There are some aspects that I like, but other than that, there's some parts that I don't totally agree with. Mostly about like the origins of the Toa. It's kind of like more of a Power Rangers like feel. Like they go and meet this great elemental being. It's like, oh man, what was the name of that they went with for Tahu before he becomes Tahu in the TTV? I don't know, but some Matoran sees this elemental being and is like, hey, guess what? You're going to be new Tahu now. And he's like, oh, okay, sure, why not? And it's kind of like a little like Power Ranger-y, if that makes sense. Because they're like, yeah, let me go suit up and become the new Tahu, when it's just like a Matoran. Matoran are basically like kid-like characters. Even though some of them are more mature than others, yes. But it is something to be thinking about how it is like similar to other forms of media. And Kurtasu Studios says it reminds me of the old 2D Bionicle animation, and I do have to agree there. That is another thing that I find like nostalgic about it, is that it kind of carries its own nostalgic way to it, especially with hunting down the Mask of Time, the fragments of it, and kind of also reminds me of mask hunting, finding the golden mask, and so forth, which I do find interesting. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and go straight to what's next on the news, so that I don't keep repeating myself about it. And now this is what's next up is a Bionicle animation that somebody made called Fetch. Now, this is a YouTuber that's just starting, it seems, in the Bionicle community. He hasn't been on that long. The video only has so many views. But I'll go ahead and play it for you guys right now as we go ahead and talk about it. And it is called Fetch, a Lego Bionicle short film. And let me go ahead and play it. Let me go ahead and see if I get it in frame. And there we go. So, as you can see, it's not like exactly all too like I kind of like the setup that he was going with. It kind of gives it like a old time kind of feel. And something that he did a good job on is having the camera still the whole time, even though that's more of my problem than anything else. I do not have a stand. And the thing that I like about this animation the most is the dog in this animation. I mean, how the character is built. Also, I kind of like this this Reaper mock design that this skeleton guy has. It's very interesting. I noticed that the thing that I find interesting about this mock is having that golden shield piece on top of the head. I'm kind of curious how he did that. It's very interesting build and how he did it. And there goes Skull Guy choking a Kimu. And this is what I like about this build. About the dog is how posable it actually is. It's a very good like overall build, since it's mostly all black. You know, it gives it a feel of and no, we do not want to watch another podcast on a podcast. I think that would be too much Seption for you guys. Too much Seption right there. But all in all, it is what it is. Let me go ahead and adjust this. There we go. And Kurtasu Studio says it's a good first starter animation. It is. I suggest you guys go ahead and watch it yourselves. Yet again, it is called Fetch, a Lego Bionicle short film. I'll leave a link in the description down below so that this person can get some more love for the video that they made, since they basically got a shout out on this podcast. So I want them to have like a chance here. Yeah, and getting some attention in the Bionicle community, since they and I just like the prop setup that they did. The walking simulation that they were going with might need some work. They did a good job with the walking cycle for the dog, but not so much for the humanoid figure. He was more like floating. I'm not so sure if he's like Raven from Teen Titans, where she can go ahead and hover around without needing to walk. I'm not so sure. But all in all, the green screen was pretty decent, except the background, I might have my own questions about it because, yet again, it's not at ground level. You can see, like, obviously it seems like you're floating above, like buildings and stuff like that. But other than that, it's good for what it is. It's a decent animation. Might need some work in regards to with the green screen, trying to find a good image where it's at ground level. But other than that, it is pretty entertaining. Now, what? Also another thing. I forgot to mention that the person that created that animation goes by the name of Joshua Nguyen. That's the person that created the animation. Sure to give him some love. Go ahead and check out his video. The link is in the description down below. And now this is something that I want to talk about very deeply about. And this is a video that came out on YouTube as well, called Bionicle Legends Never Die Wave 2 Set Reveal. And it so happens that the person that made it, at least on the video on the channel that it was posted on, goes by the name of Bionicle Legends Never Die. So it's kind of repetitive, I would say. But I mean, it's easy to remember the names, thankfully, you know. It's a little, probably too much rinse and repeat, since most of the videos that he makes goes under Bionicle Legends Never Die, and then insert rest of the title here kind of thing. But let me go ahead and show this video off to you guys as I go ahead and talk about it. Now, this person made mocks designed in a way where it's not like an official set reveal because Bionicle's canceled. We all know this. But what him and his team is doing is essentially trying to design Bionicle sets that may look like what Lego would have done if Bionicle weren't canceled. And the designs that he has plans going with the overall design of the figures and stuff like that. Now, in this video, he covers mostly Shadow Toa. That's like the designs that he's going with, like Shadow Toa and this and that. And let me get this in frame here, so you guys can go ahead and see. Now, this isn't actually Wave 2 sets. I just want to keep that in mind. This isn't a Wave 2 sets. This is just simply him designing Bionicle sets as if it were to actually release. And let me go ahead and skip through. This is one of the first creations that he made. This one had several prototypes going through it. It's basically Ikimu, his version of Ikimu if Lego were to make a set of it. Now, I'm just going to mention this right now is Ikimu is one of the weaker of the designs that he has made. The other designs are improved tremendously. This one is one of the most lackluster ones. Like, as you can see with this one, this is like a Shadow Toa Kopaka. If you want more details, I suggest you go ahead and watch the video. But first, let's go ahead and talk about this for a little bit. Now, let me talk back about Ikimu for a second, because the concept that they were going with was making like a Toa of Twilight design, which sounds like totally not like the Takanuva from 2008. Totally not. You know, totally not the Fantaka period all over again. Totally not. This is totally different. And it's just that I sometimes, usually, the builds of that Lego makes can be scrawny at times and not as good of quality. Take example 2016 Pohatu. That wasn't like the best set. Neither was his elemental scorpion creature thing that he had. I forgot the name of that thing, but you know what I'm talking about. And there are some oddballs that the Lego company has made, and even though they tried their best in making like a Toa of Twilight, me personally, I think there could be some serious improvement with this design especially. But I mean, it kind of is reflective of Lego. If you really think about it, it's like there are usually some oddballs that the Lego company usually makes, and it's kind of it's a charming error. I would call it a charming area. It's like a knockoff that's trying to be its best not to be. So for what it's going for, it's pretty good. Now, for the next one, which is this character here, which is like a shadow Toa Kopaka, and basically it kind of reflective of I remember back in 2000 and in Bionicle Generation 1, where the Toa had to fight shadow versions of themselves. I think it might have been in one of the book novels for Bionicle Gen 1, where the Toa actually had to work together to defeat their shadowy duplicates. And this is what I think they're going with. These people are going with here, making like a shadow-based design characters, and basically their overall designs and stuff like that is reflective of that. Now, the chest plating armor is a grape that I have with the design. It's basically Stormbeast's chest plate, as you can see there. Not overly the best of the choices they could have gone with, but I mean, there is no new chest prints or stuff like that. But yet again, you can always make your own custom stickers. That is something that's possible. Like, people have made custom stickers for Overlord Makuta. So they could have done something like that, like making a custom sticker and placing it onto the chest plate and making it look like new chest printing. That could have been an option. Since they were complaining in this video that they do not exactly have any new pieces that they could use. They're basically trying to use old pieces to make new sets, and usually with Bionicle, like was discussed in this video, usually with every year there comes like new set pieces, for the overall build of the figures. But since there aren't any new pieces, they couldn't do much there. But yet again, I would have to disagree with that one, because there is also the option of 3D printing your own Bionicle parts, like that one person that made the Mask of Ultimate Power that was available on I forgot the name of the site. Shapeways. The Shapeways Overlord Mask of Ultimate Power mask that was on Shapeways. If they can like make 3D make some custom new pieces and integrate it into like the sets that they're trying to design, then that might have worked for making new parts. But yet again, I'm not so sure if they do have the funding to be doing that. But at the same time, you know, if they are going to be continuing and trying to design some new sets, especially theoretically, then I would suggest that they do try to explore into designing some new 3D parts and so forth. And let's go ahead and go straight to the next build. Here's another pose positioning of this figure. Now here is their rendition of a Shadow Tahu. Let me go see if there's a better image. There we go. As you can see, it kind of has like Chirrut's crossbow, except there has been a few liberties made to make it look its own unique thing. And I think this is one of the most strongest of the designs that they have made. He is not the only one working on this designs. He has other people working with him. I'm not so sure if I covered that already, but there are some. He's working with several other people. Most of these that he has made, but there are a few that other people have made. Now, for the design of this, the mask, it seems like they were building the entire body of the figure from the mask down, it seems, since they're trying to just make a mask, a body befitting for the mask, the corrupted mask that came with Lava Beast, which is a set that I do have. And I kind of like what they did, especially for like the legs. The leg segment area, that is a section of it that I find intriguing, how it uses the rib cages for the lower leg designs, as well as the wings, the upside down wings on the back. Except I think it would have been better. I mean, I know they were trying to go with giving the character like presence, like kind of like a vampire design with the upside down like color kind of design. But at the same time, since it is a Shadow Toa, I think making it kind of like making it actually look like a makuta with actual like wings instead of like upside down wing designs, that might have worked a much more better, in my opinion. Since this is a character based off of the story that they've made that craves war. So I can imagine like if that is like that kind of like character's persona, it would be fitting that he would want to cause destruction in the skies as well as on land, no matter where he goes. And it will be fitting too, since he does have that crossbow. So you could be flying around and going ahead and sniping all the protectors or whatnot, whatever's going on in the story that they're making. He wasn't being too specific on the overall story, just talking about the bios of each character and hardly anything else. Except for the fact that Makuta now makes shadowy versions of the Toa so that he can go ahead and conquer Akoto once more. But all in all, it's an interesting design. Now for Anua. And this one is one of the weakest of the builds that he's, in his opinion, he says that this is one of his least favorite. And mostly because of the fact that there aren't any new pieces. He was complaining greatly about this segment of the video that there isn't like a lot of new pieces available to make this character look the way they wanted to make it. There has been a lot of prototypes being made just to make this character, the Shadow Anua. Now, I'm kind of curious to see how many I would like to see the progression that has gone from the prototypes to this final version that they stuck with, to see like what they were trying to go with, so that I can maybe design my own version if I so wanted to. But that's another question for another time. But as for the overall design of this character specifically, I find it very, very scrawny. It's kind of a scrawny build, since Anua is supposed to be like big and brooding. It's kind of like copying the Skull Basher design, especially with the horns. It's very uninspiring, really. Just slap horns on it to make a character more intimidating, even though it's the same scrawny build, or give it massive shoulder pads like the Journey to One combiner model that Lego made. I mean, yeah, it's a little cliche just to add the horns in, but if they made the design bulky, like Chubby Bots, if you guys watch Chubby Bots, and watch his content, he makes them chunky. And I mean chunky mock designs. And if they did something like that, and to make this figure seem a little bit more chunky, give him more presence, then it would have worked, But since this character is a little bit, his bio being manipulative and very cunning, the skinniness does work. But since it is like a shadow version of Anua, I would imagine him having a broad design, a very broad design, which is kind of lackluster in this one. Now, as for the spear wouldn't be the first choice for a Shadow Toa, especially. I would imagine some type of hammer, but yet again, like the other few designs, the weapons haven't been really on. Well, actually, I'll take that back, because the designs of the other two that we're looking at, the other two Shadow Toa, did kind of reflect off of their character. Now, a staff for a Shadow Anua, now we're starting to have questions. I would imagine him having a club or something like that instead of a hammer, or a mace. A mace would have been interesting to see, but just to see a Shadow Anua with a staff, it's kind of wish-washy for me, to be honest. Let me go ahead and see what you guys think, and holy cow, there's a lot of people. Okay. Kurtasu Studio says the lighting was a little bad, but it was still good for what it was. Yeah, some of the images are a little shadowy. And Chilrixian says, hello, Tributron. It looks like a different version of Umarak. Yeah, it basically does. Dragzilla17 GoG01 says, because of the legs. He asks, and Chilrixian says, wait, that's Anua? Isn't that a villain? And yes, it is a villain. It's a shadowy version of Anua. And that's the question that I kind of have. Like, why would they have a evil form? Well, based off the story that they're going with here, which, let me go ahead and brief over again. Makuta wants to take over Akodo once and for all. So what he's doing is he's making shadowy versions of the Toa. So what he did was he made a shadowy duplicates. Let me repeat that again. Shadowy duplicates of the Toa. So there's basically a shattered glass evil version of the Toa. Now, since it is supposed to be like duplicates, Basically, you know, maybe it's slightly different since, you know, Makuta hasn't fully, like, mastered all of his power yet. So some of the designs that he has done for the Toa are seemed a little beast-like, a little altered, as you could see it was on the previous designs here, like Kopaka, the shadowy version of Kopaka. They all have their own names. I'm just calling them like Shadow Tahu. This isn't Tahu. I'm just calling them Shadow Tahu. This isn't Kopaka either. This is a shadowy version of Kopaka. They actually do have their own names. However, I didn't write down the names. If you guys want to know the names and learn more about it, I suggest you go watch the video after we're done with the podcast. But all in all, the designs of these, especially with the Nua, is a little lackluster. I wish they could have done something besides a staff and making him and instead of him being too scrawny, maybe mixing scrawniness with beefiness, kind of similar to Skull Basher, you know, something around that lines, or just make him full on bulky in general. That would have worked. Now this one, I am very disappointed with this one. I'm very disappointed with this design. This is basically the combiner model Makuta with the Nexonite wings. And instead of transclear orange, there is the transclear blue. Now, on the good side of this, I do like the Nexonite wings. It's kind of fitting. I can imagine Makuta having something like this, as well as the transclear blue design with the staff. But still, though, they could have done something new. They could have done something new. And he talks about like the designing process that he took just to make this. Now, this figure, this took months for him to make. Meaning that most of the months that him and his team have been doing was designing new design for Makuta. Trying to come up with new designs for Makuta. But however, all the attempts that they did looked terrible, in their opinion. Yet again, I wish we could see the progression between those prototypes that he has designed and compared it with the later version, the final version that they decided to go with. But still, it's basically the combiner model Makuta with Nexonite wings. I wish they done something different, like I don't know. I would like to see it like more of an Emperor look, because you see with the Nexonite wings over here, with the Nexonite wings that you can see, it's kind of like a simplified, like techno like design. It's a very techno based design, and it's very contrast against the gribbliness of the overall rest of the body. The staff is fine. I don't mind the staff. It's just that compared the wings and the staff with the body looks too busy, I think, to work with the wings. I'm not too sure if I'm the only one that thinks this way, but the wings don't really complement too well with the build. It complements with the staff. Don't get me wrong, it works with the staff. That would have been interesting to see, but I like those two concepts. But the body is something that I have a problem with. Now, I know that the combiner model Makuta, it's very loved for what it is, at least the original design. Now, since they were going with a shadowy design, since it is like a shadow theme, aka the ghost theme of Ninjago, if you guys remember that. It's basically like this whole wave that they're making is basically something similar to that. Everything's ghostly shadow themed, you know, very spooky and stuff like that. But the personal thing that I would have gone for designing, like the torso, the actual body of the makuta, would be actually trying to make a skeletal design. I think a skeletal like body design, it would even work with the mask. Let me see. See the makuta mask, the mask of ultimate power, it kind of has like a skull based design. Now if they did like a scrawny like build, like a undead like warrior kind of design, and give it like basically these wings and the staff, that would have been cool to see. Like a scrawny like skeletal kind of like design, since based on the story that they were talking about, Makuta hasn't been in his full strength. He's not fully strong yet. He's still trying to get stronger. So having him having a skeletal-like design would have worked for the overall story and theme that they were going with for this Hypothetical Wave 2. I think that would have done well for the designs that they would have gone with. But yeah, there is hardly anything else left to say about this video. I mean, if you guys want to check it out and learn some more details about this figure, just let me know. If you guys, I'll go ahead and make a link of it. I'll go ahead and make a link, Control C, and go ahead and put it in here. Okay. Bionicle Ledgends. Never die. Wave 2. Set. Reveal. There we go. Control V. There we go. And that's too big. That is too big. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Alright. Let me go ahead and see what you guys said. Okay, so Trill Rickson says, oh, that's interesting. Dragzilla Gochi01 says, well, it's supposed to be Shadow Toa from Bionicle Books. Yeah, that's basically what it is, but in Gen 2 form. It's basically that, but in Gen 2 form. And he also says that I think Shadow knew it should be a bit more beefier. I would have to agree. It should be a little bit more beefier in design. It's kind of like a little bit lackluster, in my opinion. Especially with the staff, I wasn't a big fan of the staff design for it. It was a little bit more. It was a little bit questionable going through with the idea of him having a staff. That is something that I'm not all too agreeant upon. And Chill Rixian says, I know there is problems with G2, but I think if we want to keep Bionicle and not lose it again, we have to stop being negatives. And, you know, that's a good thing. You know, it's good to be positive about it. That's why I'm not, like, overly against the TTV's Gen 2 story that they're going with. There are some things that I like. I would like to see where it will go. But all in all, there are a few things that I am unhappy about, but we shouldn't let the things that we're unhappy about, what somebody's doing, affect this community greatly, I feel. And Dragzilla17 Go G01 says, maybe something as Umarak the Destroyer. I think you're referring to the Shadow Nua, and you know, that might work. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, for the Shadow Nua, I think like a something similar design of Umarak the Destroyer might have worked, since they basically do have the horns. And hello, Xanton. How's it going? And Trell Rickson says, yeah, that would be cool. Like a bloody red body and a white skeleton, a cape, and those wings. I wouldn't say a bloody red body would do it. I feel like that overall design would be contradictant against the wings. In my opinion, it would be contradictory. But let's go. Let me go on the news docket here and see. All right. Oh, no, this is something that I want to be talking about, that I'm actually kind of happy to talk about. This is a Bionicle Motion comic that somebody has made. A comic series is currently being created by Toa Tapio Nuva. Now, this motion comic that they've made, I actually do like it a lot. It's based off of the 2002, the year 2002, with the Borok. And I am very happy with that overall design that they're going with here. With the overall story. I'll go ahead and excuse me.
You get a chance, can you put that hay between the ducks and the roosters?
Yeah.
Put a canopy over there. There was over there by the other two chickens.
Yeah.
Put over there, at least it can get dry. That right there, you know, but I put the canopy, put some hay and the rest is for the dogs.
Okay.
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 Thank you.
I will do that after I'm done with my podcast.
Yeah. Whatever you have to do.
Sorry for the interruption, my fellow viewers. Oh, all right. It's fine. It's fine. We're gonna go ahead and gloss over that one. Dragzilla17 Go G01. But let's go ahead and talk about this video that Toa Tapio Nuva. Now, this is a series. It takes and of course, this video has the all the oh wait, great, I could have had to actually find it. Great, okay, where is it? Where is it? Come on. Okay, I think I found it. Yep, I found it. Okay, awesome. So let me go ahead and slide it over here. Now this one is this is a Bionicle Motion comic that Toa Tapio Nuva made, and the voice acting in this is actually pretty decent. Of course, LJ Johnson is voicing as Liwa, which is no surprise. And freaking ads should never exist. I'm just saying, but yet again, that's how I get my revenue. If you guys, this is like the first one that he's made, even though it's comic number 4. I think another YouTuber might have the beginning parts of the series done. I think it might have been Toa of Ultimate Doom. I'm not so sure where the beginning first parts are. But this Bionicle Motion comic takes very different forms of media when it comes to sound clips. It takes different types of music from the Bionicle games, like Bionicle the game, as well as Minogue and all different forms of media. It takes a lot of liberties with the music. It makes it very cinematic, and also Lena Volperas is voicing as Gali as well in this animatic. This, I called it animatic. What's wrong with me? Bionicle Motion comic. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so there's different voice actors from all over the Bionicle community. I suggest you go ahead and watch the. Go ahead and look it up yourself. It's I'll put a link in the description down below for you guys to go ahead and check it out. If I can actually do it. There we go. And it's very well done. For the voice acting, I kind of liked it for what it is. It's very good quality, as you can see. Wow, somebody hated it already. I wonder who hates this animation. But if you guys want to go ahead and see more comics like this, I suggest you smash that subscribe button right over there. Click that little bell so that you can go ahead and watch all the latest content that Toa Tapio Nuva is currently working on. But I'll stop playing it so you guys can actually not have too many spoilers in this. And this animation. Okay, and the thing about that animation is the voice actors of the in that series includes Jackson Trent as the narrator, LJ Johnson as Liwa, like I discussed earlier, and also the person by the name of that voice actor as Kopaka and Vakama, and Joe Newman as Pohatu, Accept as Tahu, and Toa Tapio is Kapura in this animation. Lena Volperas, as I said earlier, is Gali. and Energetic Lego Films as Anua, and Julian Guthrie as Matau. It's basically a nothing much to talk about here. I mean, it is I definitely suggest you go ahead and check it out yourselves. It is a amazing animation, and let me go ahead and continue playing this for you guys to go ahead and watch if you still wanted to. And let me just Bionicle Motion comic. Control V. Okay, so another thing as well that has been going on in the Bionicle community that I would like to also discuss would actually be a Bionicle SFM comedic film was created, and it's called Bionicle in Real Life Episode 3, and it covers some memes and has some awkward moments, but it's still a decent animation nonetheless. It kind of drags on a little bit, especially during the close to the end part of the animation. I wish they could have done something that would have been a little bit more entertaining. This animation, by the way, doesn't take itself seriously whatsoever. It's now this is episode 3, and I'll go ahead and play it for you guys so you guys could see it for yourself. It's supposed to be like a comedic SFM animation. It doesn't really it does okay for what it does. However, I wish it was a little bit more entertaining. It kind of drags itself a little, but I mean, it's still entertaining. It's just the ending part though is a little bit it drags on a little bit too much, in my opinion. But yeah, it's basically this animation. And you can probably guess what might be happening here with Tyler going, so golly, it's a pretty nice day. You know, it's yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and make a link of it so you guys can go ahead and check it out. But yeah, it's something too that's one of the. It is what it is. It is what it is. So, Bionicle IRL SFM. Control V. There we go. There we go. And you can watch me build some more. Oh! Welcome, Mason Mox. This is the Bionicle Forged Podcast, where we show exclusive footage of a Let's Build. This is a rough, unedited video that you're watching here, so you guys can get some tips and how to build and learn a few building techniques. And at the same time, we'll be talking over some news that's been going on in the Bionicle community. So, right now, what we've just been talking about is is I think we can go ahead and talk some more about man, I wish I added more on this news docket. I honestly did. But nonetheless, we can go ahead and talk some more about the ragdoll animation that Ragdoll's animation that he made based out of the TTV's Gen 3 story. I mean, we could talk more about that since it is, and this is a animation that that Ragdoll made, that which covers like the TTV's Gen 3 story that they've been working on as of late. No, like I just covered previously, it does in fact I kind of like the formatting of this, how he did this animatic. It kind of is a little bit nostalgic when seeing it actually in visually instead of just like worded and in, you know, ink and paper, you know, just descriptions that the TTV keeps talking about, because half the time I don't need. The TTV is very repetitive. They honestly are. They're very repetitive with the things that they say, and they forget a lot of things half the time, which is why they made the Bionicle Gen 3 Bible that they've filled up. It's very roughly made. It's very rough. It's basically a oversized notebook, if you would want to consider it that way. But what I like about like this series in general is the fact that it does carry some nostalgic feels about 2001, like the mask hunting. You know, it's kind of nostalgic of the mask hunting for the golden mask, and it's kind of reflective because they're looking for like fragments of the Mask of Time, you know, and it got that going on. Also, another thing that I kind of have a problem with is the Toa not actually coming in like in pods or stuff like that. Instead, there are Matoran that are confronted with these elemental beings, elemental gods, like the TTV likes to call it, and they're like, I bestow upon you the mantle of Toa, and this and that, and then Tahu lifting his sword and go like, I am the power. He-Man reference. Literally, that's what it is. You know, or Power Rangers if you want to compare it with that, since it is 6 Toa. 6 Matoran, you know, angsty Matoran that become like Toa. Even though Kopaka in this story isn't really that angsty, he's more serious. He's literally a prince of the Ice Kingdom that he came from, you know, and I kind of like how they did that formatting where there are some ties between Kopaka and Tahu that is set up in a way where there will actually be conflict, which I kind of find like very interesting as well. And I mean, I kind of like how they were going with it, but yeah. Oh gosh, no, that's not what I meant at all. Okay, there we go. Continue playing this for you guys' entertainment. It is pretty awesome, nostalgic. I would have to agree. However, I would have to say that there are some some things that I may not be fully up upon, since like literally you got the whole like transformation deal. I mean, even though the transformation deal is like the transformation thing from becoming like a standard Matorian into a powerful being, and this goes for both the actual Roxy to the with the Toa. And the thing that I have a problem with is in Bionicle Gen 1, specifically, the Roxy in all reality were just Crota in a robotic shell, you know, and there weren't any like ties or connections with the Toa, except they're evil and the Toa has to stop them, you know. That's basically what it was. But it had like also a creepy factor to it, because they were basically like snakes, basically, in robotic shells, you know, ugly serpents. And I think like what would have been cool to see with Bionicle Gen 3 if they wanted to keep the Matorian, since, you know, having the Roxy used to be Matorian kind of brings ties with the Toa, to the Toa a little bit, giving like a much more sentimental conflict. But what I've really sold it is with part of the mutation in becoming these Roxy. What if like they could never actually die in the story, with the Crota, with them, like, if their bodies were ever destroyed, there will be this snake, this symbiote, which is the embodiment of their mind and their soul, coming out of their corpses and finding another Matorian to possess a body, and becoming, and turning that poor innocent Matorian and into another Roxy, but having the same mind and spirit as the previous Matorian that has manifested into the new Matorian. Now that would have been amazing to see. And Catgirl57 says hi and hello. And Chilrixian says, what I missed from 2001, 2003 is that Bionicle looked more robotic, the big sets, and there was more of the cool snow and nature. And I would have to say, like, yeah, I would have to agree. They did look more robotic. However, like in the animatic that we just like witnessed earlier, I'll go ahead and play it again so you guys know what I'm talking about. But in the actual animatic, if we look carefully enough, oh no, oh gosh, no, that's not what I bet. Okay, so in the actual animatic itself, there is a little bit of robotic factor, even though this is very cartoony here. I'm not really a fan of the Toa, but in this segment here, when Pohatsu has like a vision of like the future, you can see like this giant like Muwaka like Rahi there. Now it does look mechanical to a certain degree. However, I wish Ragdoll did a little bit more designing when it came to that kind of Rahi, instead of making it look a little weird. Now the Roxy themselves, their armor design does give them a mechanical aspect, but it only helps it so much. It only helps so much because when you look at this kind of type of animation, it is, even though it helps with expressions and stuff like that, there is a lot of risk when it comes to this type of animation. But if done right, it might work. Think, for example, Transformers Animated. If you guys know Transformers Animated, where they do like the cartoon designs. I'll go ahead and real quick and show you guys Transformers animated. There we go. So with the Transformers animated design, as you can see here, it's very cartoony based design, which I think is what the TTV is going with this animated design. Now, usually with this kind of like cartoon formatting, it can be done right, but this is Transformers we're talking about here. This isn't like Bionicle. Even though they're both biomechanical creatures, you can say that all you want, but I mean, we're talking about Bionicle here, which the landscape is very realistic and stuff like that. So having like a realistic environment and texturing and stuff like that, you would also need those characters to fit along with their environment with a certain degree, which having it in this kind of animated style doesn't really do it that much justice, I personally feel. Now let me go ahead and slide this in. There we go. And also, yeah, the big sets. I kind of miss like the big sets as well. They haven't done that many. The Lego company hasn't. I mean, what am I talking about? The TTV hasn't been doing so much with set designs lately. It's mostly like their fans that are helping out and producing what the sets may look like. And the thing about it being all minifigures and stuff like that for the Bionicle Gen 3, if it was a system line, it would make the feel of mechanical like less present, because what the TTV forgot was that Bionicle had Technic, and Technic was a synthetic. You know, it was a visual appearance. It wasn't exactly a building system like CCBS was, like LJ Johnson talked about in Axel's form versus function, you know, and his conversations that he's made, you know, just talking about the two of them. And the thing is that Bionicle Gen 1, it had the mechanical feel because of the functions, like the Muwaka or the Terrakava or the Manus. They had functions in them which helped give them a more mechanical-like presence. Okay. Chill Rixian says, what I'm sad about is we'll never get a Bionicle Heroes 2 or a online virtual Bionicle game that has Bionicle Heroes graphics. And I would say, like, having a Bionicle Heroes design would be good to see, because the design of Bionicle Heroes was actually very good. It's just that if if they were going to be making a Bionicle game, they would have to go big or broke. Meaning, they actually should have take close examination of the Bionicle lore and actually giving each character their own abilities, like elemental powers, mask abilities, so forth. Instead of like, you shoot a laser, you shoot a different laser. You know, but Bionicle Heroes did have their elemental abilities, like Holly could shoot water, and Matoro can shoot ice, and Nuparu had his nuclear bomb of murder death. Even though I don't think that's canon, but still, I mean. And the thing that about Bionicle Heroes, I would have liked it if Nuparu was the one that had the jumping ability to reflect flight instead of Kongu, because that's kind of like Kongu doesn't fly. You know, Nuparu can fly. At least give him that jumping ability. And Catsgirl 57 says, may I ask if Lego Company did not kill Bionicle, not like kill, I saying is if they not stop making Bionicle, and if Lego Company did not kill Switch Bionicle, and Bionicle's still out, and what Bionicle still be like if Lego Company did not stop making Bionicle. Alright, so let me go ahead and address first about Bionicle Gen 1 first, if they did not end it. And then I will talk about Bionicle Gen 2 if they did not end it. Alright, so in regards to Bionicle Gen 1, if Bionicle Gen 1 did not end it, what will happen is, after the Bionicle Legend Reborn movie came out, which it would still have been released, because it is basically a beginning of another like trilogy. It seems to be like going to be another trilogy that will be going about, which I personally would think would have been the case. And hello, the Equal Dodge, and since it will be like another trilogy going about if Bionicle Gen 1 did not cancel, I would imagine it being something like, how should I put it? They will start off with possibly going to outer space. Possibly. But how they would actually go from Barra Magna out to explore, I would imagine them to explore the moons. And the way they would have done that is, I remember back in the chamber, and Bionicle The Legend Reborn, let me go ahead and look it up, but hold on, give me a second, I can't multitask. There we go. Okay, I found it. So here's some clip. It's because we all know that Bionicle movies especially have a very I should say it's very hinting at oh gosh, Matanui, calm down. Calm down, Matanui. I'm sorry if it's a little blurry, but this image over here, it's hard to see. Yes, I know it's hard to see, but it's the first photo that I found. But the room with the portals. Now, if you remember that segment, I had a feeling that it might be something to do with the actual like it might be a transportation system. I can imagine each of those portals being a transportation system, either in different parts of the planet. Since this portal system must have been around when Barra Magna was Spherus Magna. I can imagine that being the case, because it was created a long time ago and it's been there forever. as you can see, since there were a bunch of vines and stuff like that growing about. And the thing is, since it used to be Spherus Magna when that was created, I can imagine that when the planet split during the Core War, two of each of the two portals might actually be on the moons. So one portal leads to Terra Magna, which is probably the green moon. Like I like to call it Terra Magna because that would be a very fitting name. And Aqua Magna, which was, I think it's the other moon. The other moon was a water planet, it seemed. So I can imagine the two portals being there. And from finding like bunch of clues with Tenui and his gang going around and searching, they would probably encounter and actually going to one of the moons full of vegetation, you would encounter dinosaurs, robotic dinosaurs, as was intended for the next following sets of Bionicle. So what I would imagine is there will be robotic dinosaurs, and at the same time there would probably be like actual like Matoran or other form of life also on the planet besides the dinosaurs. So you would have like species, like Matoran riding on the dinosaurs and stuff like that. And then on top of that, since if I remember correctly, based off of from what I read on Biosector, there was a prison. There was a prison on Barra Magna with the Great Being in it and several other old villains from the previous years. Now, I would imagine, and Velika tried to destroy that base. They tried to destroy, but Artaka went in and saved all those people from the explosion. So that segment, part of the storyline, would probably happen when Matanui and his gang return to Barra Magna once they find out that the actual a power source for he will probably find some type of mystery, solve some type of mystery about the Great Beings. I wish the book of The Riddle of the Great Beings from the graphic novel came out, because that would have answered so many questions. But on the Cliff Notes side of things, what I would imagine is there would actually be like a Bionicle Stars wave. And what I mean by that, I don't mean like the Matoran build. You would actually have like a finale going on. You'll have Marinder, the Toa killing machine that was created by the Great Beings. You would also have like Artaka being there. You'll have a powered up Velika probably returning back to his Great Being former self after killing Karzani and all the other people. You would have like the Toahaga working with Makuta Miserex. You'll have army of different factions going on, and it will be awesome to see, because and also at the end as well, when Bionicle ended in 2010, or was it 2009? I'm not too sure, but 2010. Let's go with that one. But what happened was, is Makuta basically brought up together an army of Skakti, an army of Rakshi, and stuff like that. So what I would imagine is the Skakti being one of the planets, on one of the moons. I can imagine that. So Makuta would have probably met Matanui on one of the moons, possibly, because he wants the Mask of Life. I can imagine him wanting the Mask of Life or wanting more power. He wants to find the power source that goes to the other giant robot that was on Bear Baghdad. I can imagine that being the case. So Makuta will be like, I want to be stronger, or something like that. You know, having some type of motive. Matanui would have to retreat off of the moon somehow with a giant Makuta robot pursuing close behind, which will be kind of terrifying, but I can imagine that being the case. And let me go ahead and see what you guys are saying here. And Chill Rickson says, ooh, I think it would be awesome if they kept Bionicle alive since 2010. So like the room in Bionicle Heroes when you go into a level. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the room that's in Bionicle: The Legend Reborn, that movie, like where Matanui is taken by Kina, and Kina leads them into this secret chamber. That might actually be a portal room similar to Bionicle Heroes. I can imagine that being the case. I didn't have thought of that, but that's definitely what it must be it. So yeah, water dinos, that might be the case, because I can imagine them having different type of dinos. I can imagine them being like elemental, kind of like the elemental creatures, but they are dinosaurs. So you would have like a fiery T-Rex, like a T-Rex that's on fire or something like that, like with flames coming off of it, looking super cool. Or a what's another good example? Or a Triceratops that's like made out of like earth and rock or something like that. I don't know. But maybe elemental. I wouldn't imagine that being the case though. They would probably look a lot like the Rahif that we got in 2001. And then Cat Girl 57. It says, so the Bionicle title will be Bionicle Time Warp. Then to find parts and pieces of the Great Being for the Great Being. Yeah, no, not Great Being. Great Being. B-E-I-N-G. But they wouldn't find pieces of the Great Beings, of a Great Being, because the Great Being is basically a Glatorian. That's what they are. But I would be what I'm trying to say is they would be finding clues and stuff like that, and what the Great Beings actually are and stuff like that. And like they will probably find ancient artifacts and stuff like that they will be combating, fighting for. I can imagine that the main villain for most of the waves, since Makuta is basically trying to start up an entire army to rule the galaxy. So what he would be doing, so what the main villain would either be Valika, the Matoran that's actually a great being, trying to become a great being all over again. So he would be trying to find his old equipment to try to... He'll be trying to find his old body and then trying to put his consciousness back into the old body since the great beings have disappeared. So Valika would have an opportunity to turn back to his former self after getting so much research. So he will be working behind the scenes, trying to manipulate Matsunui and his team, and trying to I would say to manipulate them into doing what he wants them to do. And since you basically got like Matsunui is basically like a toe of light, let's think of it that way. You got a car, you got Kina and Gresh, and you got Barracks. Now, the thing that I imagine is what we're missing here in the cast is somebody with the element of stone and someone with the element of earth of some kind. So I can imagine in their journey to one of the moons, they would eventually find like a elemental being, like another character to join them on their adventures. So let's say there is a great being that they find, or it's some type of new Toa, that lost the rest of his team. Kind of something like around Lesovic or something like that. Some kind of like Toa-like character that they'll confront and go like, yeah, sure, I'll work with you. Like one of the elemental lords. That's a good example. Like, they'll have like an elemental lord working with them. So you have like an elemental lord of earth or an elemental lord of stone. I can imagine like the elemental lord of stone working with them because he lost his entire army. And because they've all been mutated. They essentially all been mutated and turned into scorpion-like creatures. The Voroks. Yeah, if you remember. So he would probably the great being of stone, the elemental lord of stone, would probably work along with Matsunui. So we would get a set of an elemental lord there. And we'll find the elemental lord of earth, which is basically like one of the scroll like characters I can imagine. Wait a minute. Yeah, like the scroll, kind of. And he will probably be like red and black looking evil, but he's like, yeah, I'm totally one of the good guys, but maybe later on he turns out to become a traitor and goes like, yeah, I'm working with Valika now. See you guys later. I can imagine that being the case or something like that. Chill Rixian says, I feel like Greg and the Bionicle team would have probably forgotten a lot of things, so you'd probably be a great help to the team. And thank you very much. That would actually, I would actually, might be a help to the team. I can imagine, especially when it comes to set-wise, because I really want to be a Lego designer someday. I really would. And, we're getting close to we're kind of getting close to the end of the video here. So, just keep in mind, if you guys have like any like personal questions about me, just wait until the end of the video, where I will make the announcement. Hey, if you guys have any questions about my channel or stuff like that, please wait for the end of the video. So, because we're getting in close here to the end. Anyways, yeah, I can imagine like we'd be getting dinosaurs, a few elemental lords. We'll have Valika becoming a great being and becoming like the main evil antagonist that the Glatorian and Matsunui have to defeat. Then at the end, it will be like a race against time, because probably Matsunui wouldn't be the only one that's looking through the Great Maze. There will probably be other people following him and trying to get to the Great Maze first. And also another thing is that once during the end, after like Matsunui defeats Makuta, the story will still go on. Because if you if you look in Biosector, I suggest, if you have any questions, you should probably check in Biosector. There's a lot of Bionicle lore, and I mean a lot. And if you remember, there is the Marinder, and Marinder was a robot designed to kill Toa. So after the Great Spirit robot possessed by Makuta landed on Bear Magna, if you remember correctly, a whole lot of characters came out of the Great Spirit robot, like the Roxy and the Skakti. Even Takanuva got out of there, as well as the Toa Nuva and everyone, basically. All the Toa. Due to that surge, that amount of presence of Toa that is in one closed-in vicinity, when Velika went ahead and tried to, the Matoran, I'm talking about the little Po Matoran, who's actually a great being. Velika went into the Great Spirit robot and tried to free or do something, but he was searching for Marinder. Now, when he looked, Marinder was missing. Now, Marinder is a robot that kills Toa. In case if it's basically a doomsday device. Marinder is a doomsday device in case if the Toa were ever to turn evil, they will release Marinder to kill off all the Toa. Now, the thing is that with I can imagine that Makuta would have been defeated, killed off by a moon being crashed in his head. That probably would have still gone through with Makuta getting a moon struck in the head. But after Makuta's defeated, Marinder will be running around, and the Toa will be powerless. But maybe, and the only way for Makuta, for the Marinder to truly be defeated, would have to be with the golden armor. I can imagine that being the case. But since the golden armor would have to been used in order to defeat Makuta, it will probably have to be recharged again, because it was like a one-time use kind of thing. And that reminds me of something. Is that maybe when Matsunui and his team were venturing off into Terra Magna, which I'm calling the moon full of jungle and forests and stuff like that, in search for artifacts, they would have probably been looking for the golden armor. Now, when they get the golden armor, they'll probably be trying to use the golden armor to try to go ahead and defeat Makuta and to save Matsunui's people. I can imagine that being the case. So they're going around trying to find the fragments of the golden armor so that they can go ahead and defeat Makuta once and for all before he returns to Bear Magna. I can imagine that being the case. So, what will be happening here is they will be, once they return back and Marinder is freed, Makuta is dead after killing Makuta once and for all with the golden armor, Marinder is free. And I can imagine the first Toa to die. Oh gosh. That would be a tough decision because it's like putting a Marinder is like the equivalent of a nuclear bomb. If you really think about it, like a walking nuclear bomb, a walking Terminator, if you will, hunting down and killing Toa. What Toa team would die? Oh, I did not think of this. Which Toa team would die? Oh no, people are gonna hate me. Oh, okay. If I had to call it, the Toa team that would have to die might be the Toa Nuva. Now, here's my explanation why the Toa Nuva would have been killed by Marinder. When the Paraka were around, the Toa Nuva went to go to Voyanui to defeat the Paraka, but they lost. They lost tremendously. They couldn't stand a chance. So they got defeated off. Now, but that's only one instance. The Marinder is much more powerful than the Paraka. So, Marinder is much more powerful than Marinder, but you had to remember that also the Toa Nuva have the adaptive armor designed by the one and only Artaka. Artaka made them adaptive armor. Now, with the adapted armor, yeah, okay, so Chill Rixian says, well, if the Paraka were a threat to them and won, well, yeah. And so, sadly, the Toa Nuva would have died when Marinder was awoken. So the only Toa team would be left would be the Toa Haga, which is working with Miserex, which was working with Miserex at the time, to defeat Pterodax. But since Pterodax is dead, I'm not just sure what Miserex and the Toa Haga are doing. Maybe they went their separate ways. But the Toa team that will probably stand a chance, and I do not know that much about the Toa Haga. I'll give you that benefit of the doubt. So my judgment may be invalid when I make this statement. So when probably the Toa Haga and the Toa Enika, or Toa Mari at this point, will be fighting off Marinder. Now, I do not remember the special abilities that the Toa Haga have, but it will be a close fight. It will be a neck to neck, because you're dealing with 12, not just 6, but 12 Toa versus one robot killing machine. But probably there would also be a MacGuffin device somehow. So, which would be the golden armor. Now, the question would be is the golden armor would have to be recharged, which means probably they will have to go into the Great Spirit Robot, because the Great Spirit Robot would also have a power core in it. And if you remember, only Makuta's head got smashed by a giant moon. The power core of the robot is in the chest. The power core, the battery power, is in the chest. So Makuta is brain dead. He's brain dead. Which means he may not actually be dead. He's just brain dead. So, they would probably try to take the battery out of the Great Spirit Robot, but Makuta's spirit will be still roaming around. I can imagine that inside of the Great Spirit Robot. So while they're trying to get the mask, recharge the golden armor, and trying to stay away from Marinder, because Marinder will just kill them right then and there. And so you would have 6 Toa in one group and 6 Toa in another group working together. So one group is looking to find the chamber to go ahead and recharge the golden armor, while the other team is trying to protect the Toa Mari from getting killed. I can imagine that being the case, because they all are tensed up, tension, and probably there might be still some Roxy that are just incubating inside of the Great Spirit Robot, because there was a lot of Roxy, and I can imagine there's still Roxy in that Great Spirit Robot. I can imagine that being the case. And the thing is that once they recharge it, somebody's gonna have to don the golden armor. Now, I think hands down, the most respectable a character to don the golden armor would be Jawler, because Jawler is a very he was the captain of the guard. He was very brave. He even went to Voyanui, even though the Turaga told him no, but he brought his own team together just so that they can save the Toa Nuva. I mean, even though the chances were very low, he did what he had to do. And when he became a Toa, like, that did not, nothing changed. Nothing in him changed. He was still the same person, just very... And his traits became even more prominent because he is now like a great Toa it's a great character. So he would probably be the one to don the golden armor. And Chelrixian says, I feel like G1 and G2 are parallel universes, but G2 didn't have the Toas, so they were called Toas. That's why they were called Gen 2, parallel universe, and their body and memory wiped. Body changed, memory wiped. I would have to disagree with that one. I'm going to have to disagree with that one, because if you remember, there is the thing called... And there was the upper half of the Vahi that was created, that was discovered in Bionicle Gen 2. Now, this, and somebody made a theory of this already. I forgot who it was, but I'll be sure to look into it, and I might add the link in the description below once I find the video. Once this podcast is actually up there in non-live, but like pre-recorded already. But in the theory that somebody else made, which I do agree with, is the Vahi. What it was in Bionicle Gen 2 was the upper part of the Vahi from Gen 1. Now, those two halves are the same mask. They used to be one whole mask, but separate. And now, the thing about time is that it in the graphic novel that this upper half of the Vahi was created, it said that it existed before a Koto existed, or something like that. So, meaning that the Toa do have some connections to Bionicle Gen 2. And if that were the case, if it were a continuation, it means that Morinder in Bionicle Gen 1 never did escape. He was still locked up. And the Toa, Nuva, still survived. So, what would have happened is, in the portal room, kind of similar to Bionicle Heroes and Bionicle The Legend Reborn, each Toa will go their separate ways to protect each planet. So Gali will be protecting her own planet. Tahu will have his own planet. Kopaka will have his own planet. Lee will have his own planet, and so on and so on. So they would all have their own planet. And the thing is that they will be protecting their own planet, but when they were summoned via the Mask of Time, they were brought down from the planets they were on, which the planets are seen in the Bionicle online animations, the Bionicle 2015 online animations, as you if you look carefully. And another thing is that remember the seventh hold on, I'll answer that question in a little bit, but man, what was I going to say? Oh boy. Okay, never mind. So the planet of Akoto was created. It was created sometime. It was a new solar system that might have been created quite a while ago. Now, remember in Bionicle Mask of Light, there was the seventh star. Let me go ahead and look that up real quick. I'm going to keep playing this. Okay. Bionicle seventh star Mata Nui. There we go. Okay, so Bionicle 7 star. There we go. Oh my gosh, I can't find it. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and look at some screenshots here. And okay, Bionicle Mask of Light. Let me try to find some screenshots. Must have been a screenshot that somebody made. I'm gonna have to look it up. Gosh dang it. Got to be here somewhere. Gots to be. Got to be somewhere. Oh my gosh, it got to be somewhere. Come on. More fan art. More fan art. You know, I can't find it. So, but it is there. When Gali is meditating, she noticed that a 7th star appears in the sky in Bionicle the Mask of Light. That's the 7th star. So when that star was created, that must have been Akoto that was being created right then and there. So, okay, so the reason how their memories got wiped is because if you remember in Bionicle Gen 1, they were trained by the Toa Amata were trained by Toa Helrix and Hydraxin. The old Hydraxin, not the new Hydraxin that Derek's became. Dexter or whatever his name is became. That yellow Matoran. Anyways, but they were trained by them. But when they were in the Toa pods and were ejected, there was a malfunction in the pods that accidentally got their memories wiped. So they didn't know that much of anything, but they do remember their instincts, which were the instincts that they learned from the training that they got from Toa Helrix and Hydraxin. So, how their memories got wiped might have been the same process. They decided to go into some Toa pods, and when they were summoned, and then, before you know it, their minds got wiped again. Chorixian says, do you think Akodo is like the Chinese, Japanese, Greco-Roman kind of world of Bionicle? I wouldn't say it's like actually, it might actually be the case. It might be, but I wouldn't say I would probably say like a little bit of Greek, like Greek-Roman, like you said. Definitely not so much of the Japanese kind of design. Like you're talking about, maybe not Japanese, maybe like a little bit Native American, Indian. And as for most things, yeah. Anyways, we're getting close to the end of the video, my fellow compatriots. So if you have any questions about about myself, about the channel, feel free to go ahead and ask them now before the video ends. So as you go ahead and think of questions to ask me, I will be talking about the Let's build that you're seeing here of the Makuta combiner model. I will be making a final version of a finalized edited video of how to build Makuta, the Gen 2 Makuta, and the Equal Dodge says, how are you, Tribuchan? I'm doing okay. Oh, I'm doing pretty well. As you can see, I've been thinking about have been having a lot of things planned as of late. I've been designing some more Lego idea sets. For the meantime, trying to make some new designs and stuff like that, see what people like, see what people don't like as much, and trying to make the perfect blend of what everybody likes to see in a Lego set, you know, and but doing it in construction form, because I think construction has a lot of potential. Usually a lot of adult fans of Lego usually gloss over construction, you know, and go like, they think systems where it's at. But in my honest opinion, there's a lot of potential with construction. So I've been trying to come up with designs and making the making Lego ideas work and stuff like that. And also another thing, I'm running low on parts as per usual. It's getting harder and harder for me to keep making mocks and creations and stuff like that. But hopefully, with we can actually get some funding going on Patreon for Tributron Studios. But for now, things are getting a little on the slow side. Chillrixian asks, do you have a Facebook? If so, if I'm able to be your friend, cause we're talking for a while, could I send you an email? I do have a Facebook page. I actually do. I'm also on Bionicle Mask posting as well. I haven't been posting that much on Facebook though. And sure, you could be a friend. I don't mind. I don't mind whatsoever because we do talk quite a bit. I'm just trying to make sure that my Facebook page is clear of my off of my ugly mug, because I kind of have my ugly mug on my Facebook page, so I'm trying to clear that up so that nobody will see my ugly mug. They only see my magnificent Kanohi for what it is. And yeah. But I do have a Facebook. In time, I will actually start posting the link to my Facebook over on in the description down below for you guys to watch. For you guys to click on and go ahead and check out what I do on there. I don't normally post that much on Facebook. The place that I post the most is Instagram. The second most place that I post is the TTV message boards, and then Tumblr is kind of and Facebook are kind of like the last places that I usually go ahead and post stuff. I do have Tumblr as well as the TTV message boards, but I hardly post on Tumblr that much, sadly. Yeah. Also, I'm trying to do some more stop motion animation, as you notice with the Christmas special. However, I can't do that much with stop motion since I do not have a tripod yet. I need to wait until I get enough funding to actually do that. Oh! And special announcement. I had to make a special announcement. Alright. So, CTM01 from BioLegend, the series that I made, wasn't so successful on LEGO Ideas, as you're all aware of. But if you guys are still interested in the overall story of BioLegend, the story that I made for CTM01 and stuff like that, I am writing a book for that. That will be available on Amazon, Kindle devices, the whole night, ebooks. So if you guys want to go ahead and read the book of read a book about BioLegend, the story will be fully written. I'm making my own basically book. I'm literally Greg Farsley. If Greg Farsley didn't stop working on Bionicle. Anyways. But yeah, any other questions that you guys may have? Any other questions? I'll take one more question. Just one more question, and that'll be good enough. And I'll end the video after that. Now, I'll just do a quick overview of what we talked about in this podcast at the moment. So we talked about Shay 2800 and the countdown he made of the 12 years of Bionicle, kind of from worst to best. Ragdoll made an animation based off of the TTV's Generation 3 story. And a Bionicle animation called Fetch, a Lego Bionicle short film, was made by Joshua Nguyen. Also another video that we talked a lot about was Bionicle Legends Never Die Wave 2 set reveal, which so happens to be named the channel so happens to be named Bionicle Legends Never Die. We talked about the Toa and the Shadow Toa that was created, as well as Ikimu. Ikimu was kind of a weird build of itself. Also a Bionicle Motion comic series was made by Toa Tapio Nuva. The voice acting was very well done. Highly consider checking out the series. The series uses soundtracks from all kinds of Bionicle movie, including Bionicle the game. Okay, so Children Rickson asks a very good question. Is your personal life mainly easy, or is it rough a lot? Well, I'll go ahead and answer that right now. It is very rough. It is very rough because I am like one of the only like YouTubers that keeps like trying to make Bionicle mods very frequently. So I have zero free time, guys. I have zero free time. It's always me locked up in my room for day in, day out, trying to make content for all of you guys. I haven't had a break at all. I did have a Christmas break, however, for a few hours, and then I went back to working again, making more mocks, trying to come out with some concept art, and this and that. It's rough. It is, because you're under pressure. You had to come up with new functions and designs under a certain amount of time to help like make this channel grow. And the thing is after YouTube changed their system, and putting duration over quality, video duration over quality, I'm trying to like make a good content videos with new functions and designs, even though it seems like you guys are more interested with the mocks that look cool more than the function. So I find that a little weird based off of the analytics that I've been saying. You just like to see the mock and then you're like, okay, I'm good enough, I'm gonna go leave the video. So I've been trying to figure out ways to go like, you know what would be cool for you guys, because I can't make the videos short. If I make them too short, then I won't get that many views. If the videos are longer and can stay entertaining, then I can get some more money out of it. And I'm not just doing it for the money, for like these kind of for the lifestyle that I'm doing. It's also so that I can actually get some more parts, as well as save up some money so that I can actually get, a way for me to actually sustain myself. Because I'm literally still living with my parents. And, Chili Rickson says, yikes. I'm really sorry about that, but it's very nice and great. You care that much about your fans. I know it's also to survive, although I think you might need a break sometime. And I'm actually interested in the design and the functionalities equally. Okay. That's good to know. I'll keep that in mind, because I thought it was just me that thought, wait a minute, is it like, do you guys honestly just like to see the the designs over the function. Because Makuta, the Gen 2 combiner model Makuta has about 1,000 views already, which is insane. But at the same time, so does Pohatu. You know, the Tomamata Pohatu. So I was on a tight line there. But I do try to entertain you guys the best way I can, which is why, because this podcast gets so much hate, it gets a lot of dislikes and stuff like that. So I'm trying to, as you can see here, I made a preview, exclusive footage of a Let's Build, which I will be doing every single podcast. But guys, you have no idea how hard it was to make that Let's Build. It was insane. It took me 2 hours. 2 hours just to put the figure together. Minus and it took a few extra hours just to organize all the pieces for that Makuta. It was a lot, because I know all of you can't just walk to the store and get parts and stuff like that, so I actually have to list all the pieces. So it's gonna take a long time to edit all of that. 2 hours of footage, it's just insane. Honestly, is insane. But yeah, I've been trying to work on some more bioformers as well for you guys, but I tried to make a bioformer not transform by itself, and I'll be honest with you, I am not good at it. I am not good at making bioformers that do not transform by themselves because they're too finicky. I noticed that. They get too finicky, which is why I'm going to stick with making bioformers that transform by themselves, because it's much more rigid and more durable. And that way you can manhandle the toy and not worry about breakage. But it's just hard to come up with some new designs. I've been focusing on looking on Christian Faber's concept art. I've been looking at Christian Faber's concept art lately, trying to get some ideas for new functions. I'm actually starting to look at some concept art that the Lego company has done, especially Christian Faber, because Christian Faber, my gosh, he's a freaking genius, sometimes. And I really want to expand on it, and I found a few designs that I could turn into very amazing functions. It's just some of the functions are just impossible to make, but when you look back at it, making a Generation 2 Pohatu not just walk, but run, literally running in the 90s, that's just magic right there. So I think I might be able to make some impossibly looking functions. With the designs that Christian Faber has made, I still am trying to design some more, because I find Pohatu's character more interesting than all the others, because he's a character with the mask ability of speed, and I find that fascinating. Also, the Terracotta are interesting as well with their overall design. I might tweak it, I'm not just sure. And Chilrixian says, since I have Potts syndrome affects a lot of things in your body, it made it hard for me to go to school, but I found something that will help me for the future, and I will start doing robotics in 3 to 5 years. Year 11 has been so hard to go because of it. I'm sorry to hear that. I've been, post syndrome, it's very rough. It's very rough. My grandfather, he had a few problems for himself. He kind of forgets a few things, and I understand, not everybody is not like everybody else, but you shouldn't let those qualities, affect who you are, because In the inside, you will always be a beautiful person in the inside, no matter what people may think of you. You know, and you know, you shouldn't like let those negative traits of yours, you know, judge who you are. You know, you could do great things. You know, so pursue your career in robotics. I know you will do great. You're gonna change the world for the better, and you're gonna make the world a much more happier place. So go ahead, pursue your dreams. I'm sure you're gonna make a positive change for the future. And I also had to the Equal Duchess wise words from Tributron, and I say thank you. It's just I'm just speaking from my heart, you know. It's just me speaking, you know. I wouldn't consider myself wise, but thank you very much. Kurtasu Studio says #Turaga Tributron. I have to make a mock of that now. That's official. I'm making a mock of a Turaga for Kama. I love you. I love you guys. You're amazing. You're amazing. Okay. I think we've gone did this video long enough that because you know, if we keep talking, you know, this is going to end up just like the old formatting of the YouTube of the podcasts that I used to do. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video here, sadly, even though I normally would like to talk more, but I mean, it will drag on. I don't want this video to drag on and lose viewer have viewers start to drop. So I'll just end it right here. If you want to like this format, please let me know in the comments down below if you're watching this offline or live. So without further ado, I will see you all in the next video, hopefully soon. Bye guys, and have a happy new year. Bye.